Welcome back to Mingus on Tech. It's January 25th, 2017. I'm Executive News Editor Ken Mingus. I'm here with Sharon Mackless, Executive Editor for Data Analytics and Online, and a special guest, our latest staff addition, Alexa. Alexa, who are you?
I'm Alexa and I'm designed around your voice. You can ask me to play music, answer questions, get the weather and sports scores, create to-do lists, and much more.
All right. Excellent. Now let me explain why we have Alexa here, and in fact, let me let Sharon explain why we have Alexa here, because Alexa can do a lot of things, and Sharon over the last month or so, I guess, has been sort of doing some coding and has figured out how to get Computer World News on Alexa so that anyone with an Echo or an Echo Dot can find out what's going on in technology. So Sharon, how did this happen? How did we get Alexa on staff?
We got Alexa on staff because my husband got an Amazon Echo for his birthday. And I thought it was just kind of a curiosity, as a lot of people did. But we found it was quantitatively different to interact with something totally by voice. I figured it would be like Siri or like the Google, asking Google questions. But somehow eliminating that part where you actually have to press something or do something and just speaking to it makes it feel much more natural, and it's actually quite a different experience. And then I wanted to see what else we could do with it. So one of the things that Alexa will do is give you the news, and it comes with certain what it calls skills, news sources. Computer World was not a news source, and I wanted to make it one. So we do now have a Computer World skill for the flash briefing, so you can ask it for the top technology news from Computer World. And I did actually write a piece on how you can customize your own flash briefing with skills that are not available in the skill store. And basically the hardest part of that is finding an RSS feed in the right format. Unfortunately, the public Computer World RSS feeds are not in the right format because they've got some HTML in the description, so I had to strip that.
You did some coding. Yeah, it is interesting to to go back to the first thing you said, that one of the things that seems to be setting Alexa apart from Siri, and maybe this is true of Google Home too, is the fact that you don't have to interact anything except just use your voice. Alexa will respond to any voice. And it has this technology that can, I guess it's beamform technology or something, that finds wherever you are in the room and can show you. It indicates with the indicator ring that it's heard you. And I saw some story recently that said that people are more likely to be, or more comfortable talking out loud at home, rather than going down the street. I've seen people who pick up their phone and say, "Siri, tell me something," and it always looks kind of weird, So let's let Siri. Here we go. Let's let Alexa tell us what our news briefing sounds like. So this is what, if you've signed up for the Computer World Flash Briefing on Tech News, this is what you'd get. Alexa, what's in the news today?
Here's your flash briefing. In top tech news from Computer World, Apple quashes bugs in iOS, macOS, and Safari. Apple on Monday updated macOS Sierra to 10.12.3, patching 11 security vulnerabilities in the desktop OS, and released iOS 10.2.1, an update to fix 18 security flaws in the mobile OS. Trump taps net neutrality foe Ajit Pai to lead the FCC. President Donald Trump has named Commissioner Ajit Pai, an outspoken opponent of the FCC's net neutrality rules, as the next head of the agency. Trump's federal hiring freeze won't kill
Alexa,
government IT.
Stop reading the news.
Here's your flash briefing.
No, Alexa, stop. Obviously, technology has a little ways to go. But no, that you get the idea that that's the sort of thing that you can do with these flash briefings, right?
Yeah, and I should be clear, when I said Google, I meant the Android phone, not right. Google Home, which is much more like this. And in fact, I'm planning on buying one of those to see what it can do.
A Google Home, are you really?
Yes, I am. We are all in on this now at home, my husband and I. We've got multiple devices of these around the house. We've set it up with smart switches, so now it can turn lights on and off by voice. It can turn a couple of our televisions on and off by voice. And now I'm starting to learn how to code my own skills for it in addition to news briefing skills. So I've got my phone directory on it, and there are lots more things you can do if you know either Node.js and JavaScript or Python are the two languages that seem to be the major platforms for this.
And the way to do that, you have to sign up with a developer account on Amazon, right?
Yeah, you
That's
sign up with the developer account is free. You can host it on your own server, but it is a lot easier to host on Amazon Web Services, obviously. But meanwhile, the free tier seems to be, unless you're doing something that's really going to be used by a lot of people, the free tier I think is plenty for if you
for
just
most
want to start
people.
fooling around with it for your own skills. For the people who are doing it for their companies, they're going to want to obviously pay for something a little more robust.
Right. It's interesting that there's a whole ecosystem that seems to be evolving around this. A little earlier this month, I was talking to Keith Shaw, who was at CES, and even though Amazon did not have a specific presence there for Alexa, he said you couldn't go, from every booth you went to almost seemed to have some sort of Alexa connection. I mean, even Ford's talking about putting Alexa in its cars, and there seems to be this whole ecosystem around the home that's growing in a way that I don't think I've seen happen certainly around Apple and Siri, or even maybe Google Home yet. I mean, you've got all the things. You can go on Amazon or wherever now and find light bulbs and switches that automatically will work with Alexa with just minimal setup, right? Isn't that what you've been doing?
Yeah, Google Home, the Google Assistant rather, will do some smart home things, but the Amazon ecosystem is way ahead in terms of the amount of things it will support. Amazon has also been pretty robust about welcoming third parties and opening up the platform for a lot of development, so I think they're somewhat ahead on that as well.
It's also interesting too, and this won't come as a surprise to anybody that's ever bought anything from Amazon, but the ability to buy things using Alexa is one of the things that's built in. And of course, I think it's turned on by default, and if you don't want to be buying things accidentally, you have to turn it off. There's an app that you use basically on your smartphone, or even you can go to a desktop site and you can configure the kinds of things that you do with Alexa. That's how it
Yes,
works,
if you
right?
have kids at home, I would definitely turn
Did
that
you hear the
off.
story about it may be an apocryphal story, and I have to tell this again because I think it's so funny, but the story of the young girl in Texas who was talking to her Alexa and said something like, "I want a dollhouse," and suddenly 3 days later a dollhouse shows up on the doorstep from Amazon along with 4 pounds of sugar cookies. And when a TV station was doing a story about this, the reporter said, "Alexa, I want a dollhouse," and suddenly Alexa's all around the viewing area. We're ready to order dollhouses. So you might want to turn that off if you've got kids, or if you don't want to inadvertently order things from Amazon. But again, technology is just rolling out. They'll figure out how to do this. And of course, there is a mute button. It is very important to note that I have hit the mute button. Otherwise, every time we said Alexa, it would be beeping and asking us what we want to know. Speaking of, let me ask Alexa. Alexa, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I can't see the future.
Rats.
Darn. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to wait and place our bets elsewhere. Let me try one more thing. Alexa, open the pod bay doors.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. I'm not Hal and we're not in space.
Well, at least Alexa has a sense of humor.
Alexa does have a sense of humor, and in fact, its quote-unquote personality is one of the things that people are finding somewhat amusing and attractive
You can ask it
about
jokes.
it.
It'll tell you jokes. You can play music with it. You can do all kinds of things with it beyond just getting news or like running your smart home. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, and I have to say, everyone we've shown this to in our house, the friend who got this for my husband for his birthday just thought it was kind of an amusing toy. He's an IT manager. When he came over several months later to see how we set it up with the smart house and the lights and everything, next thing we know, by 2 days later, he had bought his own. He had bought a Nest thermostat and a Nest security camera.
This can get very expensive very quickly.
It's just, it seems to be a fairly compelling experience. Now that said, the artificial intelligence sort of understanding is still at a very rudimentary level. I mean, for a lot of these skills, especially the third-party skills, you have to ask it exactly the question in exactly the right format, especially the third-party stuff. The other issue with the third-party skills that you can add, I mean, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these skills you can add, but each one you have to remember the name of the skill you have to ask it. So I've got a skill that'll, if I can ask it, how long can I keep fresh fruit in the refrigerator, and it'll say it. But I have to remember the skill name. And the reason for that is because you've got all these third parties doing their own development, and you have to be sure that they're not asking the same questions and having different answers. I mean, you have to make sure there's some way to separate these out. The things that are built into the Alexa environment instead of the third-party ones seem to understand a little bit better, but even so, it's
very concrete when you ask the
yeah,
question. You got to be very specific.
The hope is that the artificial intelligence learning will evolve, because right now it's pretty basic.
Yeah, which is understandable. I know that one of the things that's available in the app is you can train it, which will help it understand the way you say different words or commands. But if you ask something that it doesn't understand, it comes back very quickly. I don't understand what you mean, or so it gives you a chance to prompt it again. That said, okay, well, so that's our look at Alexa. It's a quick little look, but if you want to get Computer World's Flash Briefing, we're now available. You can get daily updates on tech news, thanks to Sharon. Thank you, Sharon, for that.
Search for Computer World. It's a skill in your Flash briefings.
And let's have Alexa take us out with some music. Alexa, play Buena Vista Social Club. I like Buena Vista. Alexa, play Buena Vista Social Club.
Shuffling songs by Buena Vista Social Club.
And that's a wrap.